Welcome to the Trader Merlin Show with your host, Merlin Rothfeld.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Trader Merlin Show. Alone in studio today. We had Larry Jacobson on yesterday, but we won't have as many guests on the program. I guess it all depends on how the show flows and what you guys send me. As I've been saying for the past couple days here for our first week of live Trader Merlin, this show is really more about what you guys want to hear, see, and have me present. So I had a whole bunch of questions came in over the last 24 hours, actually over the last couple of days, that I thought, you know what, every now and again, I'm just going to do a straight listener Q&A type of show, which is what today will be about. Normally, I'm going to try to have a specific topic for each day, and I know we have got a broad variety of different traders of options, futures, forex, commodities, real estate, cryptos. So we'll try to tailor more shows as opposed to make it the same kind of show every day. We'll mix it up a little bit here with different topics. Thank you guys so much for joining us. I appreciate it. One thing that you guys can all do to help us out. I was trying to figure out the other day on, obviously the goal is to monetize things here because this is all coming out of my pocket at this point. One thing that you guys can do to help us out is subscribe to the channel. Of course, I know most of you are probably subscribed to it already. Not only are we going to be doing the live shows, I actually have some other fun little things that I will be doing that will be uploading, not live, but uploading some videos to you. In a couple of weeks, I am planning, fingers crossed if I can pull this off, I'm planning on going to Asia. And yeah, I know, tickets are real cheap right now. And what I may actually end up doing is I'm going to try to do live broadcasts from there and kind of show you the lifestyle or things that you can do while you're trading abroad. It will not look like this in any way, shape, or form. It may be me shirtless sitting on a beach with a cocktail talking about the trades we made that day. Who knows what's going to happen out there, but we'll hopefully going to do that for you to show you a little bit more real life stuff. Obviously, we're here in a studio in Southern California, but that's not where we're going to spend our lives, are we? We're going to be traveling around the world and enjoying the fruits of our labors and our trading. So hopefully that will be upcoming. As general housekeeping, for always, anybody who's new, feel free to go to TraderMerlin@gmail.com to send me any questions. I don't have my website up yet. I will hopefully have that up by Monday. So you can go to TraderMerlin or send an email to TraderMerlin@gmail.com with any questions. And I appreciate all of you who have been sending in great feedback as well as questions. All right, enough of me rambling. So hello, Anthony, Pepper, James, and Gayer, who are watching us right now. Welcome, everybody. Let's start off with what happened out there today. I honestly, I think we're witnessing something that is a once-in-a-lifetime experience. Not just the crazy volatility we've experienced over the last couple of weeks, but it really is about the 10-year. I'm not a bond guy, right? Most people don't get into financial markets and start thinking about bonds. But today, again, another record low for the yield on the 10-year. Now, many of you are probably thinking, well, what in the hell is going to happen? Are we going to get that inverted yield curve again like we had back in August? Some of you are probably wondering what that even means. I will cover that on another show. 10-year today, I'm going to start off with our top 7. TJ's got the chart up here. That 10-year, as you can see, the bond prices are just spiking. I mean, they're ripping. This is a weekly chart, by the way. Look at it on a daily basis. And this is where we were, last or 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks ago, talking about the symmetrical triangle here on the 10-year Treasury note. We were talking about how when you have a symmetrical triangle, normally the probability is higher that it breaks out in the direction of the previous trend. Holy shnikes. I did not think it would be moving this far, this fast. This is something that you just don't see. Unfortunately, this is not an instrument that I trade very often. Actually, I've never bought the futures contract for the 10-year. Sure wish I would have. We had that one on our radar as far as a breakout, but I just don't trade it. I'm hoping some of you did. There's what you see chart-wise, meaning when we see a huge spike up in the value of the ZN futures contract, that you're going the opposite direction with yields. Today, we fell to 0.926. TJ will show you the chart of that one as well, just so you can see what that looks like. You don't usually see moves this fast, this aggressive with the 10-year or bond products, period. For those of you right now that are buying a home or thinking about refinancing, 30-year fixed mortgages are the lowest they've ever been. I mean, this is an incredible time to be buying a home. Of course, that begs the question of, are housing prices too high? So we have to talk about that one. I have had a lot of questions about this and what the 10-year means, what interest rates mean, what the Fed policy means. I think next year or next week, I'm going to do a dedicated show specifically on what we're seeing with this interest rate war and the battle with the 10-year and the Treasury. So if you guys like that, let me know and I will do more research so we have a pretty robust show next week. That was your number 7. Ugly day out there. Number 6 brings us to the Russell 2000, and it was really ugly. I closed out all of my Russell calls today. As you guys know, I've been telling you for the past week, I have had some calls on the Russell. I dumped them all. Really, there was no intrinsic value in my options. It was all just time. And of course, time decay is going to be my enemy at this point. So I closed all my Russell. I'm currently holding no positions in this account. that I'm usually trading here for Power Trading Radio. I'll tell you about the day trades I was in here just a minute or earlier today, but let me get through our top 7. Let's see, Russell 2000 down 3.6%, and really it's the intraday chart that looks so appealing. I mean, if you're a day trader, this is what you're waiting for. You had just great sweeping moves almost all day. Nice big downtrend move in the Russell 2000. It did spike a little bit here. You can see a little pop, but nothing. Hold on, we're on the. Nothing overly dramatic there with regards to that end-of-day rally. Now, this is the future, so what you're seeing now is really sideways action, which is normal. All right, that was number 6. Let me go to 5 because the indexes are all going to kind of group together here. 97-point slide for the S&P futures. You'll notice it did not have as big of a bounce as the Russell 2000, so maybe I got out at the wrong time, but I'm okay with that. 3.39% for the S&P. NASDAQ 100 was ugly as well. You had an $8,600 print on the NASDAQ 100. Here you can see 3% down for the NASDAQ on the day. We'll show you the daily chart just to put it in perspective. I think that there's still potential for more downside movement. I was actually anticipating a rally up to a point where I would be willing to go short. Unfortunately, the news today or just the action of the market really made me think we're going to see much more downside movement. So let's go to number 3, our podium time. Crude oil. Well, where's our CL on here, TJ? Crude oil not looking so hot today either, down 1.82%. It did have a 2-day run that was pretty nice, but gave back a nice chunk of that today. We'll see if it goes back and retest those lows right around that 44 mark. But it was your third place contender, down 1.84%. All right, gold, GC today. Bring up the gold chart, positive. Remember, we're going risk off. People were freaking the F out today. We had a nice move up. We were at 1670. I know many of you were talking about the 1700 mark. I don't know where Brendan went. Where did Brendan go? I know he was on the Power Trading Radio YouTube feed all the time. I have to maybe call that guy personally. If you guys know Brendan or others that were on the old Power Trading Radio, tell him we're switched over to here for now. 1700 is still a very logical target. As we zoom out here, and I'll have TJ switch this daily on gold to a weekly, you guys can see that there is a little bit of potential for us to come right up into those zones, and we came very, very close last couple weeks. I do think we'll see that $1,700 mark here as more people are running for cover and panicking because of the coronavirus. Well, drive safely, Ruben. Drive safely. Let's see, what else I got? That was number 2. Number 1, Bitcoin. I don't even have that chart up here. Let me see if I can just go, we're unprepared today. Let's go to Coinbase and just check out the prices out there. Bitcoin on the day up about 4%. You're 4.39 to be precise. We're back above 9,000 on the cryptos. The week for Bitcoin has been rather jagged, but it seems like it might be getting a little bit of a footing here. So there's your top 7 markets out there. Hopefully some of those put some green into your pocket. All right, no need to go to commercial breaks like we normally do. I hope to at some point. Maybe we'll get some sponsorships out here so I don't do this whole thing on my own. Let's talk about what were some of the things that were influencing my trades today. There was a certain point today where the market just was selling off and it felt like it had bottomed out. And I was looking for, from a day trading perspective, I like to look for things that are maybe overdone. We've been talking about those airlines for a little bit, and airlines to me have just been absolutely slaughtered. Actually, a great question coming in from Alejandro on JetBlue, which we'll get to here in a little bit. But I was just looking at him, and bottom line is when I'm short-term day trading, I don't particularly care what it is that I'm trading. I think most of you know that I have rules in place. Those rules need to be concrete, and my rules are usually a result of pain and torture and punishment that have happened in the past with regards to my trading. So most of you know that I do not touch biotech stocks. Why? Because Nancy Reagan said, just say no. I'm kidding. I don't trade drug stocks because I have been holding these. I actually had a short trade one day or one time. I was short on some biotech. I can't even remember the name. I'm trying to remove it from my memory like a bad girlfriend. And ultimately, I was on an airplane flying over to Italy. When I got there, the stock was down over 50% on a FDA cancellation or not approval of a drug. And that was the last time I traded biotechs. It's in my trade plan. Cannot trade biotechs. I can't trade Apple as well. So those are removed. Other than that, I don't really care what the companies do. Because remember, from a day trading perspective, I'm just looking for movement. I'm looking for action and volatility. Now, of course, I don't want to go too crazy with regards to that volatility. So I looked in my list today, and I run a list of the S&P 500. I also run a list of the NASDAQ 100, which dupes. I filter those out, and I will find things that are moving. And, of course, there are some filters I run, so I don't look at the entire S&P 500. So what came up today was American Airlines. TJ, if you would, bring up AAL. AAL was a good trade today, basically just playing these runs off the bottom. And I wasn't going for a grand slam or anything, just playing a little bit of stability. Now take a peek at this chart. This one is pretty darn ugly. I mean, this is a 2-day fall for American Airlines that is one of those ones. If you're long, you're in the fetal position crying right now. It went from $28 and today you're down at around $16. That's a $12 drop in just 2 days. Ouch. You know, this is what we talked about on yesterday's show, which was really about the coronavirus. So this is still going to be a big issue, especially if the death toll starts to rise and we see more people freaking out. You know, airplanes have been pretty empty recently, and we know these airlines are going to get hit. Take a peek at the 5-minute. This is a week. Oh, I'm sorry. This isn't 2 days. This is 2 weeks. My bad. Let's go to the daily, or 5-minute. There we go. So here you can see where I was making trades today, and it was not a long trade. My American Airlines trade, you saw it bottom out here right around 10 a.m., 10:10, and then it made just a slightly higher low. So as it was coming into this low, from a day trading perspective, I can explain to you exactly what I was doing. I was going long, had a stop loss right, you know, as we came into this zone, so right about there, going long, and I had a very, very tight stop loss. And we're not talking much. We're talking, you know, a few cents on this one. The reason for that was the equity markets were starting to rally up. So, you know, just jumped in here, grabbed a little bit, and rode it up. And I was not looking for a lot. I actually sold half of the position as it came into these highs, which are right around 1658, and then dumped the second half of my position as it rose even higher. So this is one of the things I love about day trading is I don't particularly care about the company. I'm just looking at movement on that price chart. In this case, I made 2 trades today. I say trades. Let me clarify that. When I say trades, I'm talking about a security that I buy and a security that I sell. So in the case of what happened today, I bought 1,000 shares of United Airlines, and then I bought another 1,000 shares of United Airlines, and then I sold 1,000 and 1,000. To me, that's one trade where technically it was 4, right? 1 buy, 2 buy, 1 sell, 2 sell. For me, that was all one trade, one group transaction. So there, if you're breaking it all down and keeping track of the number of trades, there were actually 4 executions, but for me that was 1 trade on United, and I had the same thing on American Airlines. Let's go up and look at the United chart for me, TJ, because that was a pretty similar one, UAL. But United did not have that second pop. I was fortunate enough to catch the first one. This thing just fell apart, and this is why you have to stick to stop losses, people. You look at what happened to these once it broke those lows. I'll do the same thing. TJ will bring that chart up for you guys full screen, and you can see that once it broke that little purple line, the lows from around, what was that, 10:15 in the morning, it was just a free fall. That's United Airlines out there, and this is AAL. Now, let's just see how fast it broke. Yeah, it broke pretty good, that lower one down there. What's different about this, at least from my perspective, is people are asking me, like, why would you trade American Airlines and UAL stock? It's expensive, you know, you're putting up more capital. Here's why. It's kind of a strange one. For those of you who are options traders, when you are trading options on this, and I actually was looking at using options in this environment, quite often what you have to do is you got to look at the options chain, you have to find the right strike price, and then you have all these, you got to find the right one. Are you buying at the bid? Are you buying at the ask? Are you offering? Are you selling? Find out which one looks the best for you, and there's a lot more selection process. To me, that's time consuming. From a day trader's perspective, I was just looking at this chart and I said, you know what, I want it, boom, buy right now. So I have a keyboard set up which are all based off of hotkeys. I'm a huge fan of hotkeys. This is probably a legacy thing to when I was a high-speed day trader back in the late 90s. And basically, if you go Control F5, it's buy 1,000 shares. Boom, simple, done, at market. If you go Control F4, it's bid. So I have it all configured, so I don't need to sit there and take the time and move my cursor and adjust all the buy and sell numbers. I just hit a button and automatically does it. That's critical for somebody who is a high-speed intraday day trader. I will tell you this, as an asterisk there, be careful, because if you get caught with that, you find that all of a sudden you're doing a lot more trades, and generally your commission costs are going to go through the roof. However, we know that commission costs aren't really that high anymore, right? A lot of people doing 0. So anyway, I just wanted to show you those ones as well, just so you know what I was trading. The question was, did you make money today? Yes, those 2 trades on UAL and American were, it was like $850 total. So wasn't a great gain, but all in all, it was about $850. What I'll do going forward is I'll have log into my live account here, because I know people are like, oh, I don't believe you. You just made that stuff up. I'll share the trades with you and show you that. The concern is I'm showing my live accounts, and there's account numbers on there, so I'm a little bit wary about that. But I'll just have to make my password just incredibly long, like a cryptocurrency key, private key. All right, let's see. What do you got? So Nick, yeah, you said, did you make money? Yeah, I made about $850 on that one. I could actually find the exact number, but I have to go log into my other account. I can't do that one today. Pepper said, not today, but last week. What was Pepper's question initially? Let me go to Pepper. Merlin, on risk-off days, Why have we seen the euro up there with the JPY and Swiss franc? Is it really a safe haven currency? Yeah, not really. I think it depends on the mood. Here's why you're seeing that. Take a peek at the dollar index. This is really the driver of it all. The dollar index is, I mean, we were commenting in mid-February on how crazy this move in the dollar was to the upside, right? And this is why I'm a net short person. I love short selling. Why? Because look how fast it went up. It went up really quick to the point it was turning heads going, holy cow, this thing went from 96.40 all the way up to 100 in a month. That's unheard of. And then we've given it all back in half the time, a third the time. Fear trumps greed any day. And once that ball gets rolling, it can be an absolute landslide. So the reason you're seeing Japanese yen and Swiss franc rally, normally those are safe havens, but because the dollar is falling so aggressively, anything against the dollar is moving up, right? I mean, nothing else is falling this fast. So that's why you're seeing those. We could go out and check out USD JPY, and we can see how the US dollar is performing. There you go. I mean, this is just, gosh, look at the move on this USD JPY. You're looking at the erosion of the dollar in, I don't exactly know how many trading sessions this is, but from the 20th of February until the 5th of March, we erased about 6 or 7 month worth of gains in USD JPY. And up until that point, you guys remember on Power Trading Radio, I'll show you, when it was right here, what were we saying? We're saying buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. Why? Because it's making a slow uptrend up. It looks strong. All of a sudden, that is no longer the case here. That you have to reevaluate everything when you see a move like this. And of course, we know it's because of the coronavirus and just global fear in the marketplace. But yeah, that's why you're seeing those spike up peppers, because the US dollar, which is based against it, is just getting absolutely murdered right now. Ruben says, I'm pissed I didn't cash out at short at 96.11. Hey, you can't win them all, Ruben. You can't be perfect every time. Look, there were trades that I made, those 2 trades I made today, I probably could have made like another $400 or $500 had I picked the tops and bottoms, got exactly where I want. But I was in a meeting today, so I'm like going to this meeting and I'm like have this position open with a stop loss on, come back and it had spiked up and come back and taken me out. Oh well, that's fine. Use a trailing stop, you're probably going to say. All right. Medic Mandan says, a video of how you traded it would be helpful addition to the show, in my opinion. Man, I got a lot of stuff to take care of here. Just planning these shows can be a lot sometimes. I generally am not going to be recording my trades, but who knows? Maybe in the future that's something that we do. Or what you see during a trade to help us hone day trading. Again, it's just really sitting here evaluating the live charts as they go. I mean, I didn't come in the day saying, I can't wait to buy United. I can't wait to buy American. It was just, I looked at those charts and said, I think there's a small opportunity here. I didn't think it was going to be a big move. I think we all have seen charts where a specific security gets beaten down so much that you go, it's just got to bounce back and there's going to be some room to the upside. So, what else we got? Are you buying tickets to go to Asia now or like 6 months from now? I have a friend right now who is in Southeast Asia. He's one of my best friends. He's the ultimate travel partner. I tell you, if I go and visit this guy, I'll come back with Nat Geo type pictures. You guys will go, I should be a tour guide, right? I used to bring all these like nice cameras with me on these trips, but my friend Josh, that's what he does. He's a photographer. So every time I come home, I'm like, I have Nat Geo pictures. I love it. I don't even bring a camera anymore. I hope he's not listening right now because it feels like I'm going to be using Josh for his camera. But I'm hoping to head out there in a couple of weeks. And to be honest, I don't know how I'm going to do this show. I may just do a 30-minute thing with my phone, streaming from the internet, and maybe doing some live trades from there. We'll see how it all progresses. Let me know what you guys want to see. You can always email me at TraderMerlin@gmail.com and give me some ideas of what might be interesting for you to see while I'm traveling. Screeno Magic records it for you in one click, huh? Thanks, Ruben. All right, let's see. Let's go to, I want to go to listener question here. Alejandro sent in a question earlier on JetBlue. And I thought this one was rather interesting because this is one of the things we talk about a lot on JBLU. We talk a lot about in the options classes at Online Trading Academy. And to me, it's important to understand how you can use a specific asset to capitalize on moves. So the question was this. I'll bring up the daily chart here. We actually need to go out even further. Maybe we have to go out to a weekly, TJ, just so we can see the full picture here. I'll read the question for you guys. Hey, Merlin, airline and cruise industry has been getting hit hard last couple of weeks. Absolutely, they could be getting murdered. What are your thoughts on selling puts? I was looking at selling 5 JetBlue April 17th, $10 strikes at 50 cents a contract. So basically what you're looking at here is a situation where somebody like Alejandro saying, okay, JetBlue has been getting crushed. And this is a weekly chart that you guys are seeing here. I know for those of you that are listening to the podcast, I have a chart that goes all the way back to 2002. 2002, JetBlue is down around $7. By the time it peaked out in 2005, sorry, not 2002, excuse me, that was way off. 2014, it was at $7. By the time it peaked out in 2015 in September, it was up around 27 and change. Since then, it's really traversed a lot, but up until a week ago, if you go back to February 10th, it was trading right around almost $22, $21.65. Today, it closed at, give me a closing price, $13.86. So you're looking at a 50% drop in JetBlue already in 2 weeks. That's pretty extreme. So the question is, at what point are you thinking about buying this? Now, we never have TJ on the program, and I thought maybe it'd be fun to kind of incorporate TJ into the show. But right now we've got JetBlue trading. I mentioned what 13 change. What was that number, TJ? 13.7. It closed at 13.86. So what you could do, and what Alejandro is proposing, is to sell some puts. Sell some puts. And basically what he's saying is if it gets down to $10, he's willing to be a buyer of this stock. And in order to, because he's committing himself to buy that stock if it drops down to $10, he's going to be paid 50 cents per options contract. So, he'll get $50 per options contract he trades. It's not a lot of money, but it's $50. The question is that good? Let me ask you, TJ. I mean, if you were to look at this chart and you see where it's going, it doesn't look great for the past couple of years, but it's already at a 50% discount in 2 weeks. If it got down to $10, you're looking at a 66+% discount. Where would you think that'd be a decent point to buy there, TJ?
If you're bullish, that's a great place to buy, I think.
Yeah, I think you really have to evaluate the airline industry. If you think that this coronavirus is the death knell for all airlines, like now airlines are dead, no one will travel anymore for the rest of time.
No,
okay.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either, right? I mean, the odds are this will pass at some point, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Are you going to travel again soon?
I don't have any plans anytime soon, but definitely I'm going to go places.
Because you've got a wife and 2 kids. TJ's lugging around some baggage. I'm by myself over there.
Got to get away every once in a while.
Every once in a while. Well, the good news is the ticket prices are going to be very, very cheap out there, folks. So, Alejandro, I'm with you. I actually think that's not a bad idea. And look at it this way. When it gets down to $10, yes, Alejandro will be forced to buy, or may be forced to buy, because that's the commitment he made by selling these puts. But if he's executed at $10 and he's already collected 50 cents worth of premium, what is his average price? It's not $10. It's $9.50. So he's giving himself a little bit extra. You're basically buying it cheaper. I personally, I don't know. Do we think it's going to get down there? We've got a bunch of viewers out there. Yes, Harrison, TJ speaks. It's the first time in almost a decade on Power Trading Radio and the show.
I'm a real person.
He is a real person. The chart master exists. You thought I was making him up the whole time. He's a musician, too. I'm hoping he can do the theme music for the show. Yes, Elliot, TJ should do more commentary. He's going to be my Ed McMahon. Every now and again, he'll just go, ha, 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 yes. There it is. See, I got him already. He's lined up. His career's made. Viewers, what do you think? Do you think that JetBlue is going to drop down to $10? You think that's a decent buy point? How many of you would think, yes, it's going to drop there and you'd be a buyer at $10? Just curious at the participation because, again, I think TJ's right. If you're a long-term buyer, I think $10 is probably a pretty decent target for JetBlue because I think this will pass. I think it'll be just like SARS. It'll be like the avian bird flu. It'll be like those where it damaged for a little bit. Unfortunately, I haven't taken the time to go out and look at all the different charts of those other pandemics that we've had in the past, but they all tend to recover. We see things get back on the ground. So, no, Steve, he was not a figment of imagination. So Jose says yes. Jose's like, yes, I'd be a buyer. Yeah, honestly, I would too. I may actually look at that option chain tomorrow because not just on JetBlue. Take a peek at some of these other airlines that have just been decimated. AAL isn't as bad. I think United really has taken a hit. We could look at United Airlines here and go out to this is a weekly. United looks worse. See, to me, United looks like something was broken long before. You guys see the difference in this chart? Look at the chart here from 2018, January through till today. American Airlines was up at 59. Now you're trading at 16. But it's been selling off ever since. That's the bad point. Let's look at UAL, United Airlines. I feel bad because we've talked about airlines so much over the past couple of days. But okay, I feel better about United. Why? Because look how strong United has been. Yes, it was sideways for the better part of 2019, but it wasn't dying like American Airlines. So, with United, maybe $40 is that buy point, which is down near an area of demand that goes all the way back into 2016. Sure, maybe that's your buy point on American Airlines, and that's going to be down over 50%. So, there's opportunity out here, and as this panic keeps on spreading, yes, there's fear. There might actually be some validity to it as well. We'll see if this death toll continues to rise and how it spreads. But some of these very attractive opportunities out there. James says he'd buy it. Most of you guys saying no. We'll get 2 yeses and a maybe. You guys are kind of quiet out there on social media. It's okay. Gayer says maybe. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure, but I like the odds. I'll tell you, I'm a much bigger buyer of JetBlue at $10 with a 50-cent premium I collect, makes it $9.50, or than buying it right now at $14. I wouldn't buy right now, trying to pick that bottom. But I think what's nice about what Alejandro's proposing is if it does get there, maybe I will buy it at that point. All right. What other questions? No problem, Kevin. Good to have you with us today. Let me see. I'm going to go over on Facebook real quick because I know we had some open Q&A. With today's S&P 500 closing below yesterday's and almost not closing above Monday's, are we a down Periscope? Yeah. Let's see. He says 2550 to 2600 on this. So that's our Austin. Let me see if I can answer Austin's questions on that ES. So here's your S&P futures on a weekly. I will draw some lines on here just to give a little bit more perspective of where we're headed. Here's the real kicker for me and why I'm nervous right now and why I'm thinking that this market is due for a world of hurt. A world of hurt. I know this sounds horrible to say it, but I think we are in, well, I can say it now. I can say we are in deep shit. We're in deep shit. Why?
You are entering a world of pain.
Where's the money, Lebowski? If you look at the S&P 500 chart right now, look, we said this in December of last year. We said not January, but we said 2020 is going to be a year full of extreme volatility. Did not think that we would see this sharp of a move. I also said that when all the dust settles, we'll probably have a fairly sideways year. I didn't see coronavirus coming in and being this much of a major factor. Here's why I think we are in a world of pain, as TJ the Chartmaster puts it. This is why our markets tanked today. This wasn't because of coronavirus. Again, this is because of our fantastic Federal Reserve Chairman who made comments about coronavirus, making things, spreading that fear, which he has no business doing, let's be honest. So right now, this is where you got to go, oh shit. Sorry if I keep swearing in the program, but you know what? It's my show. If you guys like it or dislike it, I apologize. I'll say oh doo-doo if that makes you feel better. Okay, what we're looking at right now is Fed funds futures. You guys remember, we got a 50 basis point cut the other day. That was crazy intraday big cut. They're already pricing in another an 87% chance of a 50 basis point cut on the 18th. That is nuts. That basically means a 1 percentage point cut in 2 weeks. That is, to me, just absolutely crazy. I don't see it happening. I don't think we're that bad of a position. But what it says is the Fed is freaking out and pricing in almost an apocalyptic type situation for our equity markets. That's scary to me. Now, here's where it really makes you go, uh-oh, what do they know and why is this so bad? Take a peek at the April, right? So this is for the 18th. Right now we're between 1 and 1.25 for those that are paying attention to our yields. 1 and 1.25 for the Fed funds rate, excuse me. They're expecting it to drop 50 basis points in March 18th, on March 18th. Now here we go to the 29th, which is the meeting after that. They're already expecting another 25 basis point cut from there. There's basically a 70% chance that by April we will be at 25 basis points to 50 basis points. Meaning we are right back to our 2015 levels, going right back to zero, which should be a catalyst for this market to the upside. Should be a motivator for things to push and rock to the upside. However, fear is running rampant. So to me, this is just a little bit crazy, a little bit bizarre that we're seeing this type of movement, especially when you look at these types of charts. I'm disappointed that I did not get to load up a short position today. I'm glad I got out of my call options, but I really want to buy some longer term puts, but they're getting very, very expensive out there because right now, what do people want? Harrison said, "Want more foul language." Well, let's keep it somewhat clean. All right, I'm not gonna get too bad on the show, but
and bourbon, he says.
And bourbon. Bourbon, he says? Well, hold on a second here. Let's see if we can get a little bourbon on the show today. We usually don't do that. I don't know if I can do bourbon. Bourbon might not be the case, but I got a gift from a viewer out there the other day. And Harrison, this is for you guys. Steve Moses comes on the show every now and again, and he's a huge Scotch fan. I'm really not a big Scotch fan. I prefer bourbons and ryes. But because you said foul language, and I broke that bubble today, and you said bourbon, I'm gonna have a little swill of Glenlivet 12 on the show today. sponsored by Glenlivet 12. Totally different show than what we're used to on Power Trading Radio, huh? Well, maybe I'll have shots with my guests in the near future as well.
Face is going to get red now.
I'm red with embarrassment. I don't think I've ever taken a shot of anything on a show before. So, Harrison, that was for you. Hopefully I don't get fined by the FTC or anything like that. Do I hear negative? Luis, you said, do I hear negative? Are you talking about yields? Are you talking about rates? Or just my overall commentary on the market? Remember, I'm not negative. I'm an opportunist. I'm happy to see things crash. It's horrible for those that are long-term investors, and I really do feel bad for anybody who has a 401k right now. My 401k is 100% in cash. It's also in a little bit of, my IRA is in silver, so that's okay. But my 401k, completely in cash, and I will probably look for some buy points going forward. But imagine anybody out there who is holding a 401k, and I, some of you probably have parents or loved ones that are in their 60s. They lost a ton of money. And they should be feeling rather nervous because if you have anybody who's retiring right now, I should probably send this episode to my dad. Hey, Dad, how's that retirement looking? Don't worry, he's in cash. I put him in cash. You could be looking at a 20%, 30%, 40%. I had Rick Wright on Power Trading Radio back, this is probably 3 months ago. This might have been actually in December. And he said, look, based off what I'm seeing, linear regression and things like that and reversion to the mean, he said he thinks the equity markets could drop 80%. 80%. Now, personally, I think that's crazy, but I think you would all agree that if this fear of coronavirus continues to spread and Americans hunker down, they don't go out, they don't travel, they don't go to the theaters, they're basically eating at home all the time, they're not spending any money, what will happen to our major market indexes? Are they going to drop 10%, 17% like we've seen in the past 2 weeks? Or could we potentially see 50, 60, 70, 80% seems inconceivable, but fear has an amazing way of making things crash. And at a certain point, these major hedge funds who have loaded up and had huge gains since 2009 are going to go, you know what? I better lock in some profit. That's when all of a sudden we'll start to see the bottom drop out, which is great for those of us who are holding cash or short, because at a certain point, this will become a screaming buy market. All right, let's see, right down the slide. Do I think we'll see negative yields? God, I really don't think so. I mean, in the history, we've never had them. Other markets have. To me, it seems really strange to think that we might have negative yields out there, but is it a possibility? Yes, it's a possibility. I don't see it happening anytime soon, but to be honest, I didn't see the yield on the 10-year dropping from 1.8 to 0.9, a 50% drop in the yield in a matter of 2 or 3 weeks. I just would have said that was inconceivable a couple weeks ago. All right, TJ is telling me, he says, the show must go down. We got to go. They might listen now when they get their statements. Yes, right? And the beauty is, we have so many people that come on the show and they're like, oh, I'm just going to buy and hold forever. Well, those people are getting smoked right now. It's about being agile and changing perspective. Let's not call shorting the market being negative, right? That's just opportunistic. All right, I think that will do it for me today. I violated so many things that I've done over the years on Power Trading Radio. Hopefully I didn't offend anybody out there. My apologies if I did. There was some fundamental data today that actually would maybe exacerbate this a little bit more, which was the factory orders. They're expecting that to go from 1.9% to 0.2%. They came out at negative 0.5%. So all of a sudden, factory orders have come to a grinding halt. There was an old phrase out there, which TJ probably knows, which is smoke them if you got them. I think now it's a case of short them if you got them. Could be a lot more bloodbath below in the next couple weeks. So be careful out there with the longs. Every long I'm taking has got a very tight stop loss on it, and I'm not expecting a huge bounce, small bounces. I think right now that trend is going to be more aggressive south side stuff. So there you go, everybody. Hope you enjoyed today's show. Do us all a favor. You can help me out by subscribing to the show, sharing the show with anybody that you think might be interested in it. You can also go to TraderMerlin@gmail.com. Email me there and tell me, hey, I'd love you to do a show on this or that or the other thing, or interview this guy. If you got somebody specifically you want me to interview, give them my contact information, send it on over, because as you know, it's a free-form show today. I can do pretty much whatever I want, as we have exemplified today. So I'd love to see you guys participate more, become more a part of the show. Again, tell us what you like, what you dislike. I want to make this show better and more for you guys. I'm 6 minutes over my allotted time because I told them it has to be a 30-minute show. That will do it for today, everybody. Next time, I'm going to try to get you events that are going to be happening in the next 24 hours and end the show that way like we do with Power Trading Radio. Until then, happy trading. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.
The Trader Merlin Show is produced by Merlin Rothfeld, Gary Christmas, and TJ Writings. The show is engineered and edited by TJ Writings. please contact TraderMerlin at gmail.com for comments and questions.